Welcome back, Sober Family. This is another episode of Recovery Talk brought to you guys by Pro Recovery Power. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed the first live I did earlier a couple hours ago with Nick. I mean, I learned a lot, with that one. You guys can go back and watch the replay. But today I got Alyssa now coming on with me. She has an amazing story to tell. Like, this one is a long time coming. I couldn't wait to go live with her and her tell her story the first time I ever heard her tell her story. So, hey guys. So I'm really excited about this. I hope you guys are as well. A lot of you guys do know now that Pro Recovery Power, we are a nonprofit. So we can really reach people on a massive scale now. And that's the vision I have. That's the direction that we are going in. And I will continue to do these live shows. And, I created this platform for other people to share their story and inspire hope, through social media all around the world. Almost 1 year ago, actually, August 19th will be 1 year. August 19th was the first post I ever posted last year in the middle of the pandemic. All this started because I had a thought. And the thought was, I thought about someone else other than myself. So, and here we are today. So anyways, I'm really excited for you guys to hear Alyssa's story. So I'll get her in here and then she can tell it. Oh, there she is.
Hi,
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, I'm good. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this.
Me too. I'm excited too. Look, got a little.
Oh, no, there you go.
I'm crying. Anyways, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really, really, really good. I'm excited for this. I remember it was a while ago when I heard you share a Team 12's meeting and Nick's meeting, and I was like, dang, I got to get this girl to go and share live with me. You got an incredible story to tell. That's why. And I'm sure, I mean, men and women can be inspired by it, but especially women, they can relate more so to you. I mean, I could just listening to you. I'm like, yep. Everything that you talked about. So I'm really excited for this. I'm excited for everybody to hear this as well. So before we get started, Alyssa, I want to ask you first. How long have you been sober?
My sobriety date, clean date, is November 16th, 2013. So I'm coming up on 8 years.
All right, I know that's exciting. Whoa. And where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Illinois.
Okay, cool. How long have you been in California?
Oh God, I've been in California since
Long time.
long time, like 13 years. I would say.
Okay, gotcha. And then, what was your choice in drink and or drug?
So for me, I mean, I'll get into this more when I go into my story. A multi-substance user, but in particular, IV crystal meth.
Mm-hmm. Okay, right on. So before I give you the floor to tell your story, I just want to let everybody know that's watching and that will view this after I post it. If you guys would be so kind, go to our website, prorecoverypower.com. If you're on your laptop or computer, if you look on the bottom right-hand corner, it's going to say questionnaire. If you could fill that out, just a couple questions. If you're on your phone, it's a little circle with a pencil. What that does is that helps us to track, to measure our success, track our progress, and see where we can improve in moving this vision forward. So thank you guys so much for that. And now at this time, Alyssa, I'll give you the floor to tell us your story.
Hi, awesome. Okay, so hello, my name is Alyssa. I am an addict, and I just want to thank you so much for asking me to come share. This is a really unique and cool experience. It's so cool what we can do with the online platform. And yeah, I think I really like what you brought up about, they always have that saying in the program or anything like women do recover, just because I don't know, it's good for, everybody of different demographics to hear their particular story. So for me, I guess when I share my story, it's because it was really important for me to hear a similar experience to mine, because when I first got clean, I was looking for all the differences. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was
Yep.
looking for all the differences. And I needed to hear someone that did dope like me. I needed to hear someone that lived like me. Otherwise, I was saying, I can't do it. I
Mm-hmm.
can't do it. So I'm kind of a little bit of an anomaly. For me in particular, my using career wasn't necessarily a long using career, and I got clean really young. I got clean at age 22, and I'm going to be 30 this year. So, it was a big blessing. So for me in particular, I've been, I would say the ism, as they say, my addiction to substances started long, long before I ever did drugs.
Mm-hmm.
It manifested in different ways. It manifested in compulsive hair pulling. It manifested in cutting. It manifested in self-destructive behaviors, any kind of impulsive behavior to get out of myself,
Mm-hmm.
to not feel what was going on in here. That was what I was going for. Kind of went to, to cigarettes, to promiscuity with men, to, trying all these different drugs in my teenage years. And for me in particular, you know, they're not, I didn't have the best upbringing. Like, it was good, but it was very chaotic and tumultuous. And I didn't know how to regulate my emotions. And I didn't know how to cope or self-soothe, truly. And is that like why I'm an addict? Absolutely not. But it's a contributing factor. I think that we have every single one of us who is a substance user, I would say, has trauma, unresolved
Mm-hmm.
trauma. You know what I mean? And that's
Yep.
something that we don't talk about. So that's something I'm kind of passionate about in my life. And then also, in my practice, becoming a therapist, because I'm becoming a therapist.
Yeah.
Anyways, for me in particular, I was a little bit of a wild child. And by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. I chose to be homeless at age 18 to travel the country, hitchhiking and riding trains. For me, I was just the type, it was kind of at first like a crux to
Mm-hmm.
get away from my home life. I was like, fine, like you guys don't want me here. Like, I don't feel welcome here. I did a big, like, F you, I'm gonna leave, I'm gonna do my own thing. So I went, started traveling, like Grateful Dead hippies, like travelers, like,
Mm-hmm.
living off the grid, living in the woods. Like, that was what I was all about. It started
Mm-hmm.
with, like, taking acid and, just living that
Yeah.
hippie lifestyle. But then kind of with that, with this ism that I already had, even though, I was a free spirit type, I was willing to try anything. Like normal people, I guess normal people just don't casually try heroin. Like, they think, oh, that's really bad, I probably shouldn't try that.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's try it. For me in particular, we all have that substance or that way of doing the substance. Like, I had tried crystal before and I was like, oh God, I'd smoked it. It wasn't for me. It was bleh. And
Mm-hmm.
for me in particular, when I started shooting up, especially crystal, like it was game over, and then now with the knowledge that I have, like training to be a therapist and knowing a lot of the science behind it, like our brains are chemically held hostage. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So through that in my addiction, I was shooting up and living on the streets for about 3 years. And that, by choice, that was the experience that I needed. We build up this identity in drug use to where, if you were to tell someone, if they were like, Alyssa, what are you doing? I would be proud of myself. Be like, yeah, I hustle, I get money, I get licks, like I can, shoot up myself in the dark. Like, I was like truly proud of this because I had built up this fake identity, this illusion in using. And that's part of like the detriment of this disease. It's living in your head and it's trying to protect itself.
Mm-hmm.
And its a job is to really kill its host, which is me.
Mm-hmm.
So, it kind of goes the same thing. Although I was traveling all over the country, I was been, jails, institutions, and death was my experience, as it says in programs. So for me, it was jails multiple times, in and out of jail, just petty crimes, institutions, 5150s multiple times from, I'm just saying, meth and psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
Recommend. So, and then death. I say death because spiritual death, you know, like the inability to feel spiritually connected whatsoever. It was something that was outside of myself. And, you know, as we know, when we get into recovery, spirituality is such an integral part. And it's funny because I was doing drugs to try to be spiritual, you know, like doing acid and doing, you know, like obviously you're not very spiritual on meth, but like doing other more exploratory drugs to be spiritual. But it's when you're seeking carnal material things to fix the inside, it will always be disappointed and it will never work truly. So kind of how it looked at the end of my addiction, it went downhill real fast, as you could probably see. You know, I'm not going to say I was some big drug kingpin. I was a dime bag tweaker, begging for money on the side of the freeway, panhandling in front of the 7-Eleven, hitting lame Walmart licks with receipts and stealing and selling stuff and recycling cans, stealing people's recycling. Like that was where my addiction got me because I was just trying to, you know, get a dime bag to shoot up under the bridge. That's where it ended up. Skid Row, the whole get down. So, you know, one of the things that I I'm super grateful for is that my mom didn't enable me. Once she realized what I was doing, she was like, hit the door, bitch. Or sorry, I probably shouldn't swear. She said, you know, girl, like you do you. Don't come over. Don't ask me for no help. Don't come over for food, money. Don't even call me unless you want to get clean. And that, you know, broke my heart. I was, you know, in my little victim mode as an addict. Oh, she doesn't love me. No, she was trying to save my life. So run around to the end of Alyssa's using career, age 22, living under the bridge, creating little mansions under the bridge with tarps and thinking, you know, I'm all cool. No veins in my body. I couldn't shoot up. So there's one guy, other homeless guy I knew that could. So I'd have to go find him every time I got drugs and like pull him into a bush and have him do it. It was unmanageable, dude. Like truly, truly. I was literally killing myself from the inside out. And, you know, for those of you who have suffered with addiction, you know, it's hard to explain to people because people are like, why don't you just stop? Yeah. Dude, there was nothing I wouldn't do when you're I wouldn't say under the influence, when you're in that chemical prison. And when we can further go into that, I mean, biology supports this amongst other things. So basically, near the end of my using, I was like, these little lame scams aren't working anymore, dude. So I started prostituting. And I'm talking like $40. I'd be like, whatever you got, like, let's do it. And because I didn't care. Like, I needed a bag, you know? So about after 2 weeks of doing that, I was just tired, you know, sleeping in a park. And something by the grace of God, I called my mom and said, I'm tired, pick me up. Didn't want to go to treatment. I don't know about that, but she dropped me off at a treatment center. I woke up and I started to hear a message. They said, you're not a criminal. They said, you're not a whore. They said, you're not this, and that you have a disease, that your body deals with substances different than other individuals. And that is your kryptonite. And that, you know, all you have to do is not pick up. But not only that, no weed, no alcohol, because it could set off that dopamine pleasure pathway within your limbic system. And I said, okay. For me, my addiction was that bad. For me, smoking a blunt after work with my friends is not worth me being back under the bridge trying to find a vein. For me, having a drink with Thanksgiving dinner is not worth me selling my body on the streets. And that's where my addiction goes. It doesn't have to be where your addiction goes, but just that unmanageability, whether you're getting loaded. I mean, honestly, we have a lot of celebrities in the program. We have a lot of celebrities that are sober, and it's like, dude, I wouldn't even want to have that much money because I'd be dead. So it's like the unmanageability, whether you're a millionaire or you're homeless on the street. It's all the same feeling, you know? So that is why I work a complete program of abstinence. Recovery has included a 12-step program for me. It has also included other things for me. It's included therapy. It's included working on trauma, which I don't recommend until many years after. Because for me, it's like drug use was a symptom. You know, I had a lot of unresolved trauma from sexual assault, from violence, from childhood emotional issues that I did not work through, and that drugs were numbing that for me. So to be able to walk through that in recovery and become more healed in the best version of myself, it's amazing. So from that gal, almost 8 years ago, I'm currently working full time at a treatment center, an amazing nonprofit treatment center. I'm currently in my master's degree. I have my own apartment. I have my own car. That's the truth, dude. And it's really it's from sitting through the pain, because pain is going to come no matter what. Everybody lives, everybody dies. Every pain will come, and emotions will come, and bad times will come no matter what. But the only thing I have control of is my reaction to it, and sitting through it and trying to learn from it instead of running from it. So that's pretty much where I'm at. I hope that somebody got a good message from this. And if anybody ever wants to talk or, think they can't do it, just reach out to someone, because people do care. I know when you're in your addiction or nobody gives a F, nobody cares. We care. People really do. I promise. So thank you for letting me speak, and love y'all.
All right, right on, Alyssa. Thank you so much. It was great to hear your story again, and I mean, you kind of, I mean, I've heard it from the first time at Nick's meeting, and but I remember like you're on fire, like you're on fire right now too. But I remember, like, I mean, I was in it, like you talked. I think it wasn't it you who talked about something about carrying around the luggage or something. Was that you? That was you, right? Yeah, yeah,
Shopping
yeah.
cart with the luggage, been there.
Yeah, and then yeah, finding that guy to help you shoot up, the
Oh
other
yeah.
homeless guy. Yeah, I remember all of that. You talked toward the end there about pain, and I agree with everything that you said about pain, because pain is unavoidable in life. We can't avoid it. And something I was taught actually when I was young is that we'll go through two different pains in life: the pain of change or the pain of staying the same. So for me, I mean, I was the same for so long, and it just hurt too much, or it was so painful. And then somebody told me in recovery, they said that before pain comes before the healing, because if there's no pain, then there's no use for healing to come and to come into us basically. And you talked about that chemical prison. That was great. I like that, because working in treatment myself too, and we learned a lot about all this stuff. And and the guy, his name was Nick, I just went live with earlier. He talked about it, and somebody told me the same exact thing early on in recovery. They said, look, there's no chemical solution to a spiritual problem. And I was like, oh, so I'm spiritually sick? I didn't know that. Like, I got a cocaine problem. What are you talking about? I really had a thinking problem that manifested into a drug use problem and a alcohol problem. And you touched on this. You made me think of this. It wasn't exactly what you said. You talked about how you work a program of total abstinence, and so do I. None of this California sober thing for me. Like no, like but like what's your take on that though? I know for you, but working in treatment and with clients, because I can't, like, in treatment I can't tell clients. I can share some experiences of other people, my own, but they're hoping, like, this is what they're not saying this, but they're hoping I say something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, it's okay if you want to do that. Like you did heroin, you want to smoke weed? Okay, no problem." Like that's what they're trying to get me to tell them. But I never really do. I mean, not really. I never ever do. You know. But I know, like, you can't really necessarily tell people. But I don't know. I just wanted to hear more of your take on that one and what you think about that.
Yeah, so that's a really great question. For me in particular, I'm very much into individual truths. There is no
Mm-hmm.
one truth, whether that be for recovery, whether that be for religion, whether that be for opinions. It's but knowing the risks, because I
Mm-hmm.
do know the science, and I also, through my own personal experience, have I seen few people I know who were hardcore addicts that now drink and smoke weed and that are holding on to lives and doing okay? Yeah. Have I seen many, many people who also tried the same thing who are now deceased? Yes.
Hmm.
So it's one of those double-edged swords, you know, like is it really worth it? And it's
Right.
also depending on, like, you know, how bad of an addict were you? You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
for me, it's, I think, a case by case basis, and if you're willing to take that risk, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
even in the AA book, it says, you know, if you can drink like a gentleman, my hat's off to you.
Yeah. I know. Right.
And just
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's not my cup of tea doesn't mean that it's not someone else's. But from what
Right.
I've seen and from what I know, it's not worth the risk.
Yeah, because like I always share, and it's the truth. Like I have never met somebody that was like a real drug addict, a real alcoholic, or, or or like let's just say they're a real drug addict and they weren't an alcoholic, and they went back to drinking. I've never heard of their life being great after that. I've never, not one person. Like I have a friend that he was slamming heroin for years, and he never really drank. It was just he just slammed heroin all the time. He's from the East Coast, and he got sober. He got clean. I'm sorry. He got clean, and then he thought, I'll start drinking. So he talks about it, about trying to chase the high from heroin through alcohol, and he just boom, full blown alcoholic, like really quick. So yeah, I agree with that. Like if people can, they have the capacity to be honest with themselves, they will know, should I smoke weed, should I drink, even though I'm not alcoholic, and things like that. But that's cool. Okay, cool. I like that. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you some questions now.
Yeah.
So here we go. So the first question is, so what was the most challenging part of early recovery for you?
Lord Jesus. So, one of the most challenging things about early recovery that I think is a common experience for a lot of people is something that we call slow sobriety. This
Mhm.
idea that we're used to as addicts, we're really into instant gratification.
Yeah.
One, I want my hit when I get sober or clean. I want the car. I want the guy. I want the money. I want everything to be my way, like that. And for me, it happened very, very slowly, and I had to learn patience. Like, I didn't get
Hmm.
my license until maybe 3 years clean. I was riding a bike. I was in sober living for 3 years, didn't have my own place, you know? So
Hmm.
all this came really slow, terrible jobs. Like, it's only now that my life has really started to blossom. So, you know, being able to apply that patience and kind of just be patient that God or that the universe will provide what you're supposed to have in the appropriate time.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that slow sobriety. I like that.
Exactly.
Because I like when it comes to patience, that's something I've grown in. But so like I've grown in my patience with like my wife, so I can be very patient with her. But when I'm on the freeway, oh, I'm like, I lose all my patience all of a sudden. It's like I'm rushing somewhere, even though I'm not. It's just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I gotta, that instant gratification kind of thinking. Like, I gotta get there. I gotta do this. I gotta go, go, go. Because like I was an action type person, active in
Mhm.
my addiction. Like, I was hustling, doing this, doing that. I can make decisions, no problem, even if it's the bad decisions. Like I didn't care. So it's funny though, like that's an area I still gotta work on. Like I'll talk to myself while I'm driving on the freeway, like, bro, what do you think? Like, slow down. Like, where you going? Like, you're just going to the store, you know what I mean? Or something. That's something I gotta get better at as well. But honestly, so for me, the most challenging part of early recovery was being honest with myself. That was like once I was able to like do that, everything else kind of flowed basically. Because if I lacked that, I really, everything recovery had to offer, I wouldn't have got it. If I was kind of honest, if I was honest with this but not honest with that, kind of half truths and things like that. Because somebody would always say in the meeting, and I caught it. They said, "Hey, well, how free do you want to be?" And that would just ring in my ears. How free do you want to be? Yeah. So you want to just keep these lies over here and just tell these ones, or what? Like, how free? And I was like, no, I want complete freedom. But it was tough. I mean, I had to swallow some huge chunks of truths about myself which is very, very uncomfortable. And I didn't like that. But I liked, what I did like was the result of being honest with myself. I like that a lot. So the next question is, can you tell us, how do you maintain your sobriety?
Well, for me, I like to take a multidisciplinary approach. It sounds, uh, people often harp a lot on the 12-step program, and I love the 12-step program, but the 12-step program gave me my life. The 12-step program isn't my life. And I feel like once you work the 12 steps and you have those principles and you're actively working them in your lives, it's kind of a continuous thing. I do have a
Mhm.
sponsor. I do work the steps. I do attend a few meetings. The meeting attendance isn't where it used to be. But for me, how I maintain my recovery as well with that is balance in my life. And that's
Mhm.
balance socially, spiritually, work, school,
Mhm.
exercise, realizing therapy, quiet self-care time, having all these things balanced in my life. Because when I start to feel an imbalance, for me, I think anything that's related to my physical being and my body is related to my recovery, because my
Mhm.
recovery is me. If that,
Mhm.
because some people
Yeah.
like to say outside issues. I don't think there are outside issues. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Everything pertains. It's all connected.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you on that one for sure. And I'm like coming across more and more and more people that are 12 steppers. And like I like the way you put it, like, okay, 12 step gave me my life. It's not my life type thing. And I'm not, that might sound kind of funny to people, especially early on in recovery, but I can totally relate to that. Like I learned how, like, these people in these rooms, my sponsor, they showed me a new design for living that worked for them, and I adopted it and it worked for me. But like my whole entire life is not all like my fellowship. It definitely was for the first 2 years of my recovery though. Like I did every single event, I had every single commitment. I had commitments at the area level. I was sponsoring a bunch of guys, and I went to a meeting every day for 2 years, and yeah. Hey, Jackson, what's up, bro? And I did that because that's what was suggested. And I learned these principles that they talked about and how to live life. And something about the steps my sponsor taught me is that he said, look, he basically said this. He said a 10, 11, 12 will prevent a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if you can 10, 11, 12, you will never have to rework all the steps all over again. And I said, oh, okay, I understood now. He's like, what is today? So I think today is, I am 908 days resentment free today. I count that as well. Because I learned that ever since I went through my fourth step, I understood that. It made so much sense to me. So I'm like, okay, absolutely. Let's see. Okay, next question, Alyssa, is, so it might be a hard one to answer, but what are you most grateful for?
Mm.
Yeah, it might be a lot of mosts.
Mm. Um, I am truly grateful that even though I have been through so much in my life, I still have the ability to have love in my heart, and that the world hasn't hardened me and taken away my kindness. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really grateful for that.
Right on. Oh, that's awesome. And then let's see, where are we? Um,
Kitty.
okay, could you have gotten sober on your own?
No way.
No
Absolutely.
way.
No, I was definitely wanting. No, like I said, my God, I think, was working through my mom, and God also, I was in that point of emptiness and desperation. And that's why it's so important, for any of you watching or listening, to not enable an addict in your life. Because for me, I had to reach that complete spiritual, emotional, financial, physical, mental bottom before a tiny, for you Christians out there, mustard seed of hope, mustard seed could be dropped in there and it could grow. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, truly. So I think I was empty enough to where I could finally call my mom, who had not been enabling me. She brought me to treatment, and then I was able to listen. But until then, I wasn't done yet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're one of the very few people that I've heard since I've been sober, what is almost 5 years, that your mother never enabled you. You're one of the very few people. Every other story I've heard, basically, yep, my mom enabled, my dad, my family did. I don't, me personally, I don't hear a whole lot of people say that, but like, because it might look like somebody looking from the outside in, like, oh wow, you don't love your daughter, like you can just let her just do whatever she like and da 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 da, and but that's great. That's awesome. Do you think if your mom enabled you, you would be here right here today? No.
Absolutely not. My mom is a
Mm.
therapist, though, so kind of has experience with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I didn't know that about your mom. All right.
It runs in the family.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, right on. Because yeah, for me too, I definitely could not have gotten sober on my own. Absolutely wouldn't work because my way, period. My way of living didn't work. My way of wanting to use drugs, my way of wanting to use women, and everything about me in regards to my cognition, nothing was working. No, I couldn't hang on to a girl to save my life. One jumping from one to the next and thinking like, oh, every time something went wrong, it was always her fault, not my fault. And I was a very victim, like how you talk about victim mentality, and I stayed stuck in that, and it was just a horrible, horrible way to live. How to have a miserable life. If you think about yourself, that will guarantee you a miserable life. Just think about yourself constantly. You guarantee will have a miserable life, even if there's no drugs and alcohol involved at all. So, last question I'll ask you before we let you go is, what would you say to the newcomer to encourage them, or somebody trying to get sober right now?
Oh gosh. Um, like I said to the newcomer, someone is that oftentimes we think that we're alone and that there's there, you know what I mean, and that's really not the case. I know it feels that way, but it's not true. You know what I mean? Because I think that's a big struggle. Is even for people, not only just addiction, but people struggling with depression or mental
Hmm.
health problems, thinking or feeling just so alone. And that's kind of the way that society is. We're social animals and we live in little boxes. So it's like just letting people know that you're not alone and there really is a better way. It sounds super, super corny, but in the program they talk about like people for real will love you until you can love yourselves. And that's the truth.
Hmm. Yeah, I have experienced that as well. I thought that was a little like, what are you guys talking about? They would say it all the time, let us love you till you can learn to love yourself. And but I come to find that was absolutely true. That I experienced that myself. It wasn't until I was able to offer and accept my own forgiveness to where I was able, really truly able to grow in my recovery, in my sobriety, because I was very good. I was the best at beating myself up, so that's old behavior technically, and moving forward my life in recovery and being of service to other people. I mean, it's just a totally different way of thinking, totally different way of living, but it's the one that I found that works for me, and that I'm happy with, so. But do you have any last words before we let you go?
No, I just want to thank you guys so much. And yeah, if anybody wants to talk or is struggling, like I said, anybody message away and come and talk. That's what this program is all about.
Mhm. Absolutely. Well, I thank you so much for your time, Alyssa. I'll let you get you back to doing what you do. I'll keep in touch though.
Yes, have a great weekend. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye bye. Okay, guys, that was Alyssa's story. If you guys have a story to tell, please reach out to me and we can make that happen. I do this every Saturday at 12 noon and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So just to give you guys a heads up, that may change. That may change. Also, this Saturday, I will not be going live at all. We will be at a big roller skating extravaganza in LA. It's for Valor Fitness Rising, the nonprofit, and it's going to be great. It's going to be like 10 recovery vendors there. You can come get your recovery merch. If you're into recovery clothing and things like that, there's not gonna, I mean, not just Pro Recovery Power, there'll be tons of other vendors there. There'll be different podcasters, you know, going live there, interviews and everything. Fashion magazine from the East Coast going to cover this event. Food trucks. Michael Ketter will be singing. Patty will be singing as well. It's going to be great. If you're newly sober or if you've been sober for a while, this is a great place to come to get connected and stay connected. Every single person since I've been sober, I've heard relapse. 100% of them said, I disconnected. I disconnected from my fellowship, from my sponsor, from God. I disconnected. We got to get connected and stay connected. It's hard to fall off the cliff when you're in the middle of the herd. So thank you guys so much. If you guys want more info on that, please reach out to me. You can go to validfitnessclothing.com, click on events to purchase your tickets. And if you guys are going to come, please use code PRO20. That will get you a 20% discount off all your tickets. So if you guys are going to come, I'll see you there. Take care.